Hey there, everybody. It's Mike DiLisio, and today I want to talk to you about my most anticipated games for Essen SPIEL 2025. This is becoming a bit of a yearly tradition where before we make our trip to Essen, we talk about the games that we are most looking forward to seeing that are there. And this is primarily done through the efforts of W. Eric Martin and Board Game Geek, who put together for almost every major convention, a preview list that the developers, or excuse me, not the developers, the publishers will kind of send in some information so that you can know what games are going to be there for sale or for demo or what have you. And so much appreciation there to Board Game Geek for giving us all such a wonderful resource. And so I'm going to be using that preview page where I have gone through all of the games, over 1,000 of them, and I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated. So there are 38 games on this list. So the way that it works is that when you are looking at the games on the list, you can check whether it's must-have or interested or there's a not interested, and I'm trying to remember what's in between. More info needed. I don't know, something like that. But for the purposes of this video, all that I'm doing is looking at the games that I have bookmarked as interested or must have. All right, and I'm starting with the interested games alphabetically and then going into the must have games alphabetically. A couple of things I wanted to point out is that number one, some of the games that are on my list I actually I've gotten. I have them, or I've just received them and had a chance to kind of maybe look at them a little bit, but I didn't want to keep those off my list because they were games I was very much looking forward to. I just happened to get a hold of a copy early from the publisher sending them to me in every case, actually. So I still want to highlight them. I still want to talk about them because I still think that they are games that would have been one of the first things I checked out when I went there. So I'll point that out when I get to those games. Other than that, I think we should just kind of rock and roll. Let's just get right into it, shall we? Old man glasses time. Here we go. So let's head over to that Board Game Geek preview page I talked about, and I've already started on the wrong one. There we go. So alphabetically speaking, not that I won't talk about that game in a moment, but let's start with Seven Wonders Dice. So these first set of games are the ones I'm interested in, okay? Now, this is one that I've actually played. I've played Seven Wonders Dice, and looking at the Board Game Geek ranking here, it's not getting a tremendous high score. It's showing it a 6.1, but it's very early, and so I wonder if that score is going to stay once more people have a chance to play it, because I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a fair bit. It's a roll and write version of Seven Wonders, and so it's going to have some of the limitations that you oftentimes will see with roll and write games, but I thought it did a neat job of kind of replicating some of the main elements of Seven Wonders in a very quick to play a game that plays up to 7 players, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, so it still stays on my interested list, even though I played it. Actually, I think I would have only taken it off if I had played it and been like, guys, I was interested, I tried it, I hated it. Maybe I would say something there. All right, coming up next, we've got Animal Rescue Team. And this is one that I don't know a whole lot about, other than it has Matt Leacock as a co-designer. Play to Z is the publisher, but I really do like the theme. I think the theme is very cool. Obviously, Matt Leacock is I keep jumping around when I'm not. Oh, I deleted it. How dare I delete Animal Rescue Team? Let's get that back up there. Yeah, it's a game that I like the theme. I like the designer. I'm not familiar with the co-designer, Lisa Towell, but or Towell, pardon me if I'm getting that incorrect, but I like the look of the game. Let's take a look at some of these cards. I like the art and the graphic design. I think the theme is right there in the title. You're trying to rescue animals, right? And so that's appealing to me as an animal lover. So yeah, Animal Rescue Team is one that I'm interested in checking out. Now, the game that I've clicked on about 4 or 5 different times, but haven't really talked about is here. This is Aquaria. And this has got my interest for a couple of different reasons. Number one is that you've got Tomasz Holek, who is the new hot game designer out there. Last year at Essen released 3 games, and all of which became hits of varying degrees. So SETI, which is a massive hit, Galileo Galilei, which was very, very popular, and Tea Garden, probably the least successful of the 3, but still a game that is being played and talked about and has a good reputation. So I've played 2 of the 3. I've not played Tea Garden, and I enjoyed them to varying degrees, but I love the theme of this one. The idea of kind of your doing your own aquarium, and I like the look of it from what little I've seen here. It looks like everyone has their own individual aquarium board, but with a couple of central shared boards. I haven't done a lot of research into most of these games, just so you know. I'm just going off of brief first impressions and using that as my primary gauge as to whether I'm interested in the game. Coming up next, still on my interested list, is Aquatica Dwellum. And this should probably actually be in must-have. But I don't know. I put it in interested. I'm certainly interested. Same designer as the original Aquatica game, which I've loved and had on my top 100 for years. And so that obviously is a good sign when you've got the same designer doing the 2-player version. 2-player games are super hot right now. Maybe some people think they're being overused, but I don't know. I'm definitely interested. I like the look of it. Again, I mean, it always had a beautiful look. It's keeping the same theme. I'm interested to see how they're going to utilize the mechanics from the original game where you've got the cards that slide up. I'm assuming that still happens here, although I don't know that for sure. I can still see they've got manta rays. And so, yeah, one I'm really interested in checking out. Here we go. We've got Bitcoin. Now, this is a game that's actually not brand new. This came out in Tokyo Game Market, I want to say last year, but I actually have played it once. I played it one time and I really liked it, and then I haven't had a chance to play it again. And it has not been one that is readily accessible. I mean, if I wanted to go out of my way, I probably could have gotten it by now. But hey, I'd rather pick it up at Essen where it's going to be a little bit easier to grab a hold of. And so this is a trick-taking game, and you want to win a number of tricks that sum up to particular combinations, a really interesting twist on kind of a classic trick-taking game, and one that I enjoyed the one time I played it, but I really want to check it out some more. Now, this is one that came out of nowhere for me, Children of the Colossi. And perhaps if I had done more research, again, I haven't really had time to go on a deep dive on any of these unless they're ones I've already had a chance to play. But this is one where I love the theme and I love the aesthetic of the game. And so I'm all excited about that. So I don't know too much about the gameplay, but look at this. I think this looks awesome. You've got your kind of Colossus that you're moving around. Now, does the board look a little bit underwhelming? Yeah, perhaps. It looks like, just essentially, a grid full of spaces on a board, but I don't know. I'm still intrigued. Love the cover. I'm a sucker for a good cover. I just, yeah, look at this cover. That is so, so cool to me. Not familiar with the designer. This publisher has put out a number of games. Matter of fact, they were the original publisher for Aquatica. We were just talking about Aquatica a moment ago. And so, yeah, I, again, don't know much about it, like the way it looks, and, just on the basis of that alone has my attention. Here we go. We've got Coming of Age, which looks to be a Euro-style game from designer Danny Garcia, who has designed some really well-regarded Euro games over the last couple of years. Another designer that kind of came out of nowhere and really just started putting out hit after hit after hit. So the designer is obviously one that has an early but strong pedigree, and I love this theme. I always love games where they try to replicate the idea of someone living their life, all the way back to the game of life back when I was a kid. That was always one of my favorite of the mass market games because I just love this idea of throughout the course of a game, you're living your life. And though this is kind of what it's saying, grow up one year at a time, developing goals for yourself and working towards them. Love that idea. I think this is a really nice looking game. although it looks like there's, a fair bit going on. There's, iconography and tracks, the hallmark of any good Euro game, tracks. But you've also got some nice looking dice there. Looks like cassette tapes, which near and dear to my heart as a music lover, and the school bus going around. Look, I love the look of this one. The more I look at it, the more I'm wondering if this needed to sneak into must-have, but I will keep it where it was. Next up is another Euro game. This is called Fea's Swamp. Now, this is one that actually has been at the Dice Tower studio. I have not had a chance to play it yet. I did see it on the table, and I thought it looked really good. It looks like a mid-weight, at least, Euro game, maybe slightly heavier. I don't know. But the one we had at the studio had, it was originally in a different language. Might have been Spanish, I'm not positive about that, but they had a translated rule book, and this looks like it's going to be the actual English copy of the game. Not that that matters as much, other than it'll say the title in English on the box. I think everything else is language independent, but I like the look of this game. This is, I don't have a whole lot of Euros in my list this year, but this is one of them that I like the look, I like the theme, and so I'm into it. We're on a Euro kick. Let's look at Facilium. This is another one that got me from the theme and the look of it. First of all, I like that cover. I think that's a pretty cool looking cover where you've got the kid kind of looking up in awe at the fossil, the skeleton of the dinosaur. And it looks like you've got a little bit of a polyomino thing happening, perhaps. Or they might just be squares. It might not be polyominoes, although, a square is technically. But I think you know what I'm getting at. Not the Tetrisy type of a thing as much. Again, looks like you've got maybe a worker placement aspect happening here. I like the looks of all of this. Colored meeples, again, the classic Euro staple. And it looks like you're putting together these little cardboard constructs. Again, I've said this I don't know how many times. I'm a shallow gamer. You give me a game that looks good, that has some neat looking components, and it doesn't necessarily have to be minis, only if it suits the game, then you're going to definitely get my interest. So Facilium, one that I like the look of that one quite a bit. Now, this is an old game. Old. 1999. Oh my gosh. Not even in the 2000s. Frank Zoo. The reason why this one is on this list is that this is a re-release of a game that I believe has been out of print for a long time, a climbing style card game. And I've heard so many good things about Frank Zoo. It's kind of a classic. Here's the old cover from Rio Grande, all right? But let me see if I can find some newer images here from the new. Is this from the new edition? I can't. No, that looks like the old edition too. I don't know. I don't really particularly even care if they change the art too much. The art is not what I'm interested in. In this one, it's that, just the style of game and the reputation that it has. So I might pick up a copy of Frank Zoo. We're going to have a bunch of trick takers on this list, folks. Sorry. It's a style of game that I particularly love, and I think that right now so many good ones are coming out, and re-releases of old ones. So this is called Ghost Lift. This is a game that was released at a Tokyo Game Market, I believe, and is coming out here. They're releasing it here with art by the fantastic Sai Beppu, who does art for so many of these wonderful Japanese trick-taking games, and not just Japanese games now, but is doing work for games worldwide. But this is a card climbing game, and it, I don't know. I don't have anything other than the cover and the fact that it is a trick-taking game that I've heard some decent things about in the, the areas that you might learn about these things, like those only spoken about in whisper Discord channels about trick-taking games and such. All right, we're still interested here. Legions. This is one that I feel like I had heard about a long time ago, but never actually got released. Oh, and I should have mentioned this at the front end of the video, but I filtered my list to only include games that are being listed as for sale at the convention. So if it's on this list, to the best of my knowledge, it's going to be for sale at Essen. And so This is a two-player game, card game, set in the Abyss universe, where you're competing over the districts. Now, there's already been like the Abyss card game, Conspiracy it was called, which was different. It was kind of like you're building like in a pyramid, if I remember right. I played it once, but I don't remember a whole lot about it. And I'm trying to remember if there was another two-player Abyss game, but I don't remember. Anyway, designer, theme, that's why I'm interested. All right. This one is just so, this is all about the theme, and that's it. This is such a compelling idea. So it's called Lunch Atop a Skyscraper. And that title and that cover alone was like, yes, I'm interested. Knowing nothing else about the game, I'm interested solely because of that. Now, could the game turn out to be not so good? Very much, potentially, but it also could be great. I don't know. All I needed to know was this cover and this title, and you had my interest. Now, it's not a must-have because I haven't done any real type of research about it, but I want to learn more about this game. It's one I'm certainly going to check out when I'm at Essen. I just think that that's such a neat idea. So you have those iconic old photographs of the workers that were building the skyscrapers, and they would, oftentimes sit down on those beams with their lunchbox, and turning that into a game. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Movie Tricks. This is still in interested, although I'm hearing really good things about this by people who have already played the game. I have not. This is coming from Chili Fox Games, who have put out a bunch of interesting games, but I don't know that I've seen them release a trick taker before. Maybe they have. Oh, did they release? They may have released Panda Spin also. We'll know in a moment because the expansion will be coming up here in just a second. But yeah, Movie Tricks. It's about putting together a movie. I like games with that theme. I've played a number of them where you're kind of putting together a movie, Nightmare Productions or Dream Factory or whatever you want to call it. That Reiner Knizia game is one. There was a card game called Hollywood back in the day. That was the same idea where you're putting movies together, putting stars, and this was saying stars and props, but the other ones I played have had like directors and sound engineers, things like that. So Movie Tricks, one I'm hearing good things about, and so interested for that reason. Now, this is a game that would be in must-have if only there was a way to get it language independent. But this is one that I am hearing so many good things on. This is a game that was recently fulfilled through crowdfunding. It may have been Kickstarter in Japan. And I am hearing so many good things about this. Originally, apparently this was a much smaller game with the same name, but they have expanded it and kind of added new elements to it that make it much more, robust. But it's an economic style game. But yeah, if you look at these cards, it looks like it is solely in Japanese. And so that's a little bit soul crushing to me. Unless that's flavor text, which I highly doubt that's just flavor text, because I don't see any other real much iconography other than maybe the cost of the card, what I assume would be the cost of the card in the upper left-hand corner there. But I've heard so much good things about this, and I'm hoping that it might get localized into English. One of the things I'm hoping to do is to see if I can talk to somebody at the booth and find out, is there a way? Is there already in the works localization? And if by some stretch of the imagination they have some English copies of the game there, then it switches to a must-have because I've heard so much good things about it. All right, this is the game that I think is the most highly anticipated across the board if you based it on the thumbs, right? Which is generally how on this Board Game Geek preview list, popularity is judged through the number of thumbs. And I think from very early on, this game, Horloge, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong. The Prague Astronomical Clock has been at the top of the list. And I think there's a number of reasons why. Number one, Essen is all about crunchy Euros, right? That is the convention for the Euro lovers. More than any other convention each year, Essen always comes with the heavy hitting Euros. And this looks like one of those. It also has a gorgeous cover. In my mind, I mean, art is always, of course, subjective, but I think that cover is gorgeous. I think the look of the game is great. And honestly, this looks like to me, this picture we're looking at right here does not look intimidating to me. It doesn't look like it's overwhelmed with iconography. And that's encouraging. If this turns out to be truly a medium weight Euro, then I will be very, very excited about it. It might skew into a bit heavier, right? It might be a heavy game. I don't know how many people have played it, so I probably wouldn't even look at the weight rating on BGG right now. I think that would be way too preliminary. But certain elements of this look very familiar to me, but not in a bad way. It looks like you've got gears, right? You put gears in a game, people are going to get their attention all the way. I'm thinking of Zolkin. I'm sure there have been earlier games with gears, but that's the first game I remember with gears that kind of caught my attention on the Euro front. And so here we're looking a little more complex, right? Got a little bit more happening here. And so we'll see. I don't know. But if it's heavy, that doesn't necessarily take it out of contention for me. I do like heavy games on occasion, but this one has my attention. Okay. Oshiya Tokyo. Look, this is a card game with numbers. Normally, not going to pay much attention to it. But the reason why is the designer. This is a Reiner Knizia game, and so I didn't put it on my must-have. You will find several. I'm just going to spoil it right now. There are several of my must-have games are Reiner Knizia games. This is one I'm going to take a look at. It's probably going to be cheap, so if I see it there, I will likely pick it up. But it just, cards and numbers. Although, gotta tell you, man, if anyone can make a game with just cards and numbers compelling, it would be Reiner Knizia because he has several that fit that bill. All right, we are still interested. Panda Spin. Okay, no, this is Moongate design, not Chili Fox. Let me make sure. Nope, Matago. Okay, so it was not Chili Fox, apparently. All right, so this is an expansion for Panda Spin. Now, I have to be honest. Panda Spin is a game that I have struggled with a little bit. I have gone back and forth onto whether I think it is clever or whether it's a bridge too far. And, I'm in between. So is this going to add more to the game? If I find out that this is adding more to the game, then I'm probably not interested. But if I find out that in some way that it can kind of streamline things a bit, maybe smooth off some rough edges that I felt that were there in the original game, then I'd be more interested, but I need to find out more about it. So yeah, Panda Spin 1 is I've really struggled with going back and forth on, do I like this game? I'm not so sure. All right. Continuing on, Propeller Islands. Honestly, it's going to take a lot to get me interested in a Queen game because just being very frank, they have put out a lot of things that I don't think are very good designs recently. And I have to be honest, again, I don't love this cover. Nothing about this cover is really that compelling to me. But the reason why it's on my interested list is the designer, Stan Kordonsky. He has designed many games on my top 100 list, several games on my top 100 list. And so if he designed it, I'm going to be interested. I mean, just full stop. And then if I find out more and think, okay, well, maybe this one's not for me, then so be it. But it has my interest just solely on the basis of him being a designer. And this one looks interesting. Looks like a kind of a light to mid-weight game. Maybe it's not light, mid-weight type game with tile placement. And so, yes, I'm interested. I do wish the cover was a little bit nicer, but you can't have it all. All right, still sticking with interested. We've got The Slasher. This is a two-player trick-taking game, cooperative, two-player cooperative trick-taking game that was actually, I believe, released at Tokyo Game Market last year, but I did not get a hold of it there, so I'm looking to get a hold of it here. I have heard some good things about this, and I think it's a hilarious theme, although I doubt very highly that that theme is going to come through very strongly in a two-player trick-taking game. I think it's hard to have, you know, thematic trick-taking cooperative games. It's possible, but it's a bit of a challenge. So we'll see. Interested. Here's another one with an interesting theme, a trick-taking game, Tax the Rich. You're trying to flip the card hierarchy. So it's a trick-taking game where you're going to be doing a bidding phase where you're trying, it looks like you're determining the trump color and the number of tricks. That's pretty standard. There, you see that all the time. But it looks like you're having to, the winner of the bid must then acquire the required number of tricks together with their ally. So that's what I need to learn a little bit more about. It flips the social hierarchy upside down so that the lowest ranked cards, become the most powerful. I have actually seen that in trick-taking games before as well, but I don't know. It's interesting. You know, it's a pretty heavy theme, but it looks like they're not taking it terribly seriously. I don't know. I'm interested. Here's another one I'm interested in, Tokyo Highway Driver's License. So this looks like a very small game that is in the Tokyo Highway universe, so to speak. This is coming from Itten Games, a Japanese publisher who is mostly known for dexterity style games, and we'll be talking about them more in this video, actually. But one of the games they're most well known for is Tokyo Highway, which is a dexterity game where you are building out this network of highways, which are basically like popsicle sticks, and you're placing cars on them and trying to not knock things over, right? And so this is one that doesn't look really anything like that other than the theme where you're trying to build a network of roads with cars. But this looks to be done with cards, and it looks like a small little game with square cards. I'm intrigued, you know, right, just from that. So yeah, I hadn't heard much of anything about this until just recently. I think it was a late addition to this Essen preview list. And so, yep, Itten Games, almost always going to have my attention. Many of my favorite dexterity games are coming from Itten. Here's another interesting game. Use all your sick days. Use up all your sick days is what it says, but the cover says use all your sick days. So this is two things. Well, mostly one thing. Mostly it's designer, Dylan Coyle. Dylan Coyle has put out a bunch of small little charming card games, games like Otter and Park Life, and I've really enjoyed several of his card games. There's still a couple I picked up recently I have to play. I haven't played all of them yet, but I love this idea. Calling sick, but not the same time as others. What a cute theme for a simple card game. Yeah, adorable, adorable. And I put this under interested, but there's almost no chance I don't pick this up because, again, the name of the publishing house is Charming Games Collective, and I could not agree more. Their games are charming, so very interested. Here's a game that would be in must-have, but again, pretty sure that this is language dependent because it's a children's game by Reiner Knizia that has sound, I believe. Or is this the other one? No, this has sound. You can kind of tell by, if you look at this in the bottom left there, it looks like a plastic piece that you press buttons on it and it's going to say things. Well, in the case of this game, it says things in German. If somehow, by any stretch of the imagination, this has an English version there, must have, will be mine, I'll have it. I don't care if it's a kid's game. The idea of this, I think, is just cute. Knizia's put out several of these games in the past, and yeah, I don't know. I'm a sucker. I have a problem with Reiner Knizia games. Last game, I believe. Nope, second to last game on the interested list. This is an expansion for Xylotar. This is Xylotar Unhinged. And so Xylotar used to be called Magic Trick. It's a really cool, interesting trick-taking game that I liked as Magic Trick and I like as Xylotar. They made some changes, but nothing that really took away from my overall enjoyment of the game. And so, sure, let's add some new stuff. Let's add some new stuff to that system, and I'm interested. Again, this is one I'll likely pick up because it's probably going to be a cheap little expansion. And then my last, let's keep going with these trick-taking games. This is Zombie Princess. So why is this not on must-have? Because I loved Rebel Princess so much. The reason why is that, quite honestly, it's not the same game. It's not the same designer. All right. So Rebel Princess was a game that I believe was a Spanish company originally, I believe, with a different designer that basically was Hearts, the game Hearts with powers, right? And so, from what I understand, this game, which is designed by Ted Alspach, is oh no, yes, spades, basically with powers, okay? And so why this is just interested instead of must have is twofold. The last trick-taking game I played by Ted Alspach, I really did not like. That was Sandbag. And so I'm a little bit hesitant based off of just that particular experience. And I'm just not sure, right? I'm open-minded. I hope I love it, but it's like, okay, so we had Hearts with powers, that was successful. Let's just try spades with powers. Will it be as successful? If it is, that's great. And I hope it is. But I am a little hesitant. I'm a little bit trepidatious about this. All right, let's go to the must-haves. Here we go. Put these three things together. Reiner Knizia, Korea board games, underwater theme. Boop, you got me right there. Do I think it's going to have any theme at all? Nope. I think this is going to be purely abstract. And because why? Look at that board. That sure looks abstract to me. I don't care. He makes great abstract games, but I like underwater. I like underwater as a theme. Looks like you've got a little couple of cute fishy meeples in there. Look at that. That looks pretty. That meeple looks really familiar to me. It looks like from Shallow Sea by Bad Comet. Different publisher, though, so I don't know. I wonder if they're getting meeples from the same place. That clownfish meeple looks very, very similar. Also looks similar to the clownfish meeple in Aqua Garden from Uchibakoya, so I don't know. Maybe they get all their meeples from Uchibakoya. That would make sense. I'm not saying they do, but that would be interesting. Because this is Korea as opposed to Uchibakoya being a Japanese. I don't know. Anyway, who cares? I like the look of the game. I actually pre-ordered this one, and so I'm sure to be getting this one. This is the only game I pre-ordered, I believe, so far. And so yeah, interested just based off of that. I'm sure it's absolutely and utterly unthematic. All right, here we go. So this is a game that at Essen is being released as Kikai. All right. But if you look on the screen here, you'll see it says Bricolage Heads. That's because that was the original name of the game when it was released in Japan from publisher Ramble Odd Potato. So let's see, if we look at this, at the cover here, you can see that it says right on the cover, Kikai Bricolage Heads. So they're not, they're not distancing themselves from that at all. Quite the contrary, they're making sure you know, hey, this is that same game if you knew about that same game. Well, I know about that same game because I have that game right here, Bricolage Heads. This is the original Japanese game from Ramble Odd Potato, and it's in Japanese, right? This is a game that is in Japanese, but it's the exact same theme. However, they've made some changes, right? They've made some changes to this version of the game. I don't know exactly. So in the version of the game I have, you're building these kind of three tall towers, right? Do they have that in this game? I don't know. Are they continuing to have that kind of three-dimensional aspect? I'm not sure. I haven't been able to tell for sure yet. I could probably look a little bit at the rules and see if that's in there. But anyway, why is this on my list? Will I actually get another copy of this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I might because I really like this two-player game where you are playing cards to go out into these different districts. And so here's the original game, and build these structures. I'm wondering if there's a way, can I get the most recent? Let me see if I can get some more. Okay, so this is what we have from the new version of the game. We really just have, actually, no, that's the old version of the game. We don't have a whole lot from the new version. We've got this. So how is that going to be? Is it going to be in cardboard constructs? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe so. Maybe it'll be, like cardboard standees. Either way, I don't really care about that much. I certainly love how it was handled in the original game, but I'm okay with that. It does sound like a couple of the changes they made maybe smoothed out some rough edges, and so I might pick it up just for those reasons. And I'll probably keep both because I have a collector issue, but and I do love the original game, even though it had some rough edges. All right, Diver Go! So this is the new Itten game that is coming out at Essen. And Itten, you remember I mentioned a moment ago when I was talking about that new little Tokyo Highway game, and I said that they're known for these dexterity style games, also like Crash Octopus. They also did that whole line of Fun Brick series like Viking Seesaw. I've certainly talked about that game a time or two on this channel. And so Diver Go is their new one. And they sent me an early copy of this. Let me switch over so you can see this in a little bit more detail. So they sent me over a copy of this, and I've had a chance to mess with it a little bit. And it's very silly fun, right? So the idea behind this is that you are diving for these undersea coins. And so you've got all of these coins that come in the game, and half of them are corrupted coins, all right? And so what you're going to be doing is you're going to have a box full of these coins. The box itself is the diving area, right? So you're going to be putting the coins in here like so. See if I can do this without spilling them all. You get the general idea. And you'll see some of these coins have a stripe on them. That means they're corrupted. Some of them don't. Okay, and you've got 4 different types. You've got gold and silver and bronze and iron. And what you're trying to do is you get a certain amount of time to look at the coins. Look at the coins in the box. You're looking at the coins. And then once the timer runs out, you have to take your diver mask, you have to cover your eyes, and then you've got to reach around in the box to try to get the coins that you want. What are the coins that you want? Well, they're going to be based on these types of cards, which are like reward cards. So you, like with this one, you're looking for 2 gold and 2 iron. And if you're able to do that, if you are to get those coins, you can fulfill this and get the associated points. And if you can do it with no corrupted coins, you double the score, right? And that's not easy to do. And also, if you ever have more than 2 corrupted coins in your supply, they stack up and they go on this, and it's worth minus 1,000 at the end of the game per corrupted coin you have. So just a really fun, silly dexterity style game. That's what Itten is known for. And so it was on the list before I had a chance to play it, and nothing that has come from playing it takes it away from the must-have. I really think it's a very, very clever and cute dexterity game. All right, Gazebo. So this is a re-implementation of a game called Chin from Reiner Knizia. And I had a chance to play an early edition of this game, and it's splendid. It's a fantastic 2 to 4 player abstract game where you are placing out these tiles, these dominoes, and you're trying to get groupings that allow you to place your gazebos out, to get score multipliers, things along those lines. It is a rock solid abstract game. These were the early, so you can see this is a prototype. This is the one I played this version of the game where you just had discs, but it looks like now they've And honestly, I bet this picture is probably a prototype as well, but you get a better idea on at least at what the components are going to look like. So gazebo, really, really solid re-implementation of a game that I already liked, Chin. So must have on this one. And Bitewing Games, they knock production out of the park, right? They just do. And speaking of Bitewing Games, they're also releasing another game, Gingham, at the same time from designer Robert Hovakimian, who has designed a number of games that I've really enjoyed. Bebop, Shuffle and Swing, Moon Rollers. Talk about another designer that has kind of come from nowhere and just put out a number of very auspicious designs in a very short period of time. And this is another one that I had a chance to play an early version of. What you're looking here is probably also prototype, although I'm not positive. And it's kind of a path building game where you're placing out ants. And let me tell you, I did so poorly at this game. I played it twice and really terrible. Like I did so badly, so badly. But this is proof positive, folks, that I don't have to do well at a game to like it, because I think this game is super clever. Another abstract game that from 2 to 4 players that is just a rock solid abstract game, and a beautiful production from Bitewing Games. And so I'm excited to see what the final production is like for both of these, and I'm excited to have both of these. All right, here we go. Why is this must-have as a Knizia card game that probably doesn't look all that much different than other ones? Cards and numbers. Well, there's a couple of reasons why this one is on must-have versus interested, although I'll probably end up getting the other one as well. And that's because this is from Amigo. And I think that Amigo and Knizia have put together, they've had such a good card game combination over the years that I'm in, right? I'm in. Numbers and cards, that's it. Is there more to it? Maybe. Has a little standee here. Does it mean anything? I have no idea. I don't really care. I just have a feeling this is going to be a really fun little card game from Amigo and Knizia, and that's enough. That's enough. Hey, speaking of, here's another Knizia card game, this time coming from Pegasus Spiel. Again, that's the reason why it's on must-have versus interested, because these are publishers that have worked with Knizia over the years many, many times. Am I a little bit put off by the theme and the cover? Yeah, I am, honestly. It's a little bit saccharine for me, a little bit overly cutesy, but I'm not going to let that get in the way of a game. This one actually looks like it might have a little bit more going on. And so, yeah, interested in this one, more than interested. I'm going to pick it up. I mean, this is, again, and it's small, so the chances of me buying something at Essen are exponentially higher if it is smaller, cheaper, and by known quantities, right? Although I will take risks. I also will take risks. All right, I don't think this one is a risk for a couple of, well, multiple reasons, all right? And I'm going to state right off the bat, I'm not a huge train theme guy. Don't really love train games very often. It's rare that I find one that I like, but here you go. Hisashi Hayashi, absolutely in. One of the best board game designers out there. Just won the Spiel des Jahres for Bomb Busters, okay? So Hisashi Hayashi, I'm interested. Ian O'Toole, are you kidding me? I love Ian O'Toole. I think his art, and I think especially his graphic design, is top notch. And then third, Arclight, a Japanese publisher that I actually have gotten to know quite a bit about because my trip to Tokyo Game Market. So I will state that up front. There's potentially a bit of a recency bias there because I went on behalf of Arclight Games to the Tokyo Game Market, but I also learned a lot about what they put into their games. And so, look, as a consumer, that matters to me, right? I was there on a different under different auspices, but I'm also a consumer of board games. And so when I see a publisher that I can tell does solid work, then yeah, that's going to mean something to me. And so honestly, normally this game would not get my attention, right? Because it has a lot of those looks of train games that sometimes scare me off. But I'm this is what I'm taking a risk on but I don't know if it's a huge risk just because of the entities involved. Hiyashi, Ian O'Toole, Arclight Games, and boom, I'm in for Railway Boom. Talk about a known quantity. Sashi. Sashi and Sashi. Look, I just straight up think that Sashi is one of the best board game designers in the business. He has a very distinctive style, and his games share some kind of hallmarks and through lines, but all of them are ones that I just happen to love. And I think that Sashi does card games exceptionally well. And so here you've got Shall We Dance, right? And what do you know, folks? What shows up very recently? Shall We Dance, right? Okay, so I have not had a chance to play this one yet. I hope to soon. I don't know if I'll get a chance before I go to Essen, but it doesn't matter, right? Because Sashi and card games, I just think are, well, Sashi in any games. I'm sorry, I like his games. But this one has like an interesting kind of a thing going on where it looks like you've got kind of cards that overlap each other and they pair up. And so just that little hook, I have a feeling might be enough. And they mention a little bit here in the, it says, yeah, you're trying to pair off these cards in addition to specializing in certain types of dancers. And so, yeah, I'm very, very interested. You're going to score points for the pairs that are in front of you. That's enough of an interesting kind of premise and hook to get my attention. But a new Sashi card game, I'm gonna have it on my must-have. Until I start getting burned by these games, they're gonna be must-haves because I haven't yet. Some I like more than others. Some I think have more kind of like staying and lasting power than others. But I haven't come across any duds. All right. Snow Colony. Okay, well, this is another one that is on my must-have list because I do have it. I do have this one. This is another game. I kept the Obi strip on it just because I wanted to. It's just there. But this is from Arclight Games, and this is a really delightful rondel game where you are playing out little cards that make up your rondel. And so if you look at it here, you've got a left board and a right board, and every player's got their own of these. So everyone has their own rondel. And if you see the cards that are stacked, those are not there in the beginning of the game. What you do is you're going to move your little penguin around the board, okay, by dice drafting. You're going to be drafting dice to determine how far you move along this rondel. And as you go, you're picking up income based on which spot you stop at. And that income allows you to buy more cards. And as you buy more cards, you're stacking them above other cards that are as part of your base cards. And so as you go, you get access to more income, better actions that allow you to do different things, that allow you to kind of fulfill contracts for end game scoring. This is I've played this several times. This is a really, really delightful family weight game. Like, has, I think, wide appeal. The version I have is in Japanese. I did get English rules, and the cards themselves are language independent. I believe that at Essen, they're going to have English editions of the rules in the game. I'm pretty sure of that. And so all I'm saying is it's on my must-have list because this is one will likely be reviewing in the future, but I've kind of tipped my hand a little bit. I really like Snow Colony a lot. I think it's one to check out at Essen. And then finally, last but not least, here we go, Tricky Twist. This is a re-implementation of Short Zoot Suit from trick-taking designer extraordinaire Taylor Reiner. All right, so Taylor came out with a couple of games a year and a half ago-ish called Short Zoot Suit. And, now I'm going to get mad. An owl game that got re-implemented by Sears catalog from Bezier. And so this is a reimplementation of Short Zoot Suit. I do believe a couple of little tweaks have taken place, but I like the look of the game. I like the art. I'm interested to see what the tweaks are to the formula. And I like supporting Taylor because I think he's not only a delightful human being, which he is, but he's also a fantastic trick-taking designer and ambassador of trick-taking games. So this isn't just like giving some type of charity to Taylor. I think he makes great trick-taking games. I really loved Short Zoot Suit. We reviewed it on the channel, Chris and I. I gave it a seal of excellence. And so, yeah, why wouldn't I be interested in Tricky Twist? I mean, it just goes to make sense, doesn't it? All right, folks. Woo, there you go. That is my most anticipated games list from Essen 2025. Now, will I come home with all of these games? No. I won't have room, quite honestly, unless some of them ship back with the Dice Tower. Maybe I'll do that. But I don't think I'm coming home with all of these. But I hope to come home with several. Will I come home with games that aren't on this list? 1,000%. There will be things there that I didn't know about or that I see and I'm like, oh, wow. Get my attention, really something that I feel compelled to pick up. But this gives you an idea of the games that I'm excited about going into Essen this year. And, you know, between this video and everybody else on the channel that is doing their own version of this video, you've got a lot of games that you can check out at this year's Essen. I think it's going to be, you know, a wonderful convention as it's been every year that I've been privileged enough to go. All right, well, that's going to do it for me. This is Mike DiLisio, and shoot, maybe I'll see you at Essen. I hope so.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.